Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Drive Time on Radio Ikhlas on 107.8 FM. I'm very happy to say I have my first guest with me now, Brother Zaid Hamid. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Radio Ikhlas.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you.
Now, Jazakallah khair for joining us today. Lab pe aati hai dua ban ke tamanna meri. Every Pakistani has sung that at one stage of their life. Such a beautiful dua, written so long ago by our very own Allama Iqbal. Isn't it a shame that people don't actually follow these words anymore?
Yes, brother. Yani, these are one of the most beautiful poem of Iqbal, and which, as you said, every child in one stage of life or another has read this, recited this. But Iqbal is much more than this. The intensity and the emotions and the passion that Iqbal ignites in a generation, in a nation. And we carved a continent to create a nation because of the poetry of Iqbal. And this is precisely the message for this time also, that if this nation, if the Muslim nation of today, not just Pakistanis want to rise, they'll have to understand the vision, the message, the passion, the fire, and the emotions of Iqbal, that Iqbal ignites in a generation.
Right. Now, I travelled to Pakistan twice in the last 6 months. The standard of living for everyday civilian was really poor and extremely hard. This made me very sad and also very angry. Why in Pakistan are the rich so rich and the poor so poor?
You see, Habibi, we created Pakistan in the name of Islam. We created Pakistan on a passionate ideology. And Pakistan was not created for the sake of land. Pakistan was a different Muslim nation from rest of the Muslim countries. After the First World War, when the Usmani Khilafat was broken down, so many Muslim nations were created, but not Pakistan. For Pakistan, there was a passion, there was a fire, which we promised God that we are going to establish the system of Khilaf or system of Islam in Pakistan. And this is the tragedy, that once Pakistan was created, the founding fathers passed away too quickly. And the government and the governance and the administration, the judiciary and the education, media came into the hands of the people who did not share the passion of the founding fathers. So, and we have spent 63 years trying to find our direction. Early founding fathers did pass an objectives resolution saying where Pakistan would go after its creation. But then the struggles between democracies and dictatorships, all these fake man-made systems have now brought Pakistan to that level that you see the ideological confusion first. And because of that ideological confusion, because of that complete lack of sense of direction, you have these political experiments going on. You have these most corrupt, incompetent people coming into power. Pakistan is the richest country in the Muslim lands. The amount of oil and gas we have, the amount of gold and copper, silver we have, the amount of agriculture land, the food surplus country with the biggest agriculture system and canal system in the world. But still, and so hard-working people. But then the only problem is that the leadership that we have on top is perhaps the most corrupt in the Muslim world. And that is why you find. But now, the youth, the generation of Pakistan of the 21st century, now they're rediscovering their ideology. They're rediscovering Iqbal. They're rediscovering the passions and the romanticism upon which their forefathers and the founding fathers created this land. And inshallah, now we hope, now we are looking forward to it, that we are going to reclaim, we are going to we complete the Pakistan. Pakistan is still an unfinished destiny. It needs to be created, it needs to be finished, completed. And the land was created, as we said, to act as a base, a lab, an experiment to prove to the world that in the modern world, the systems of Islamic economic, judiciary, governance, management can be implemented as they were implemented in Khilafat-e-Rashida. So inshallah, we are most hopeful, we are most passionate about it, and inshallah, we are living for it.
Right. I mean, you look around the revolutions currently going on in the Muslim world, particularly the Middle East and North Africa. Many people are extremely unhappy about the Pakistani government at the moment. Why do we not see similar protests in Pakistan?
Habibi, in Pakistan, it is already happening. You see, try to understand what is happening in the Middle East. The Muslim world is angry. And Muslim world has been ruled by despots, by dictators, by the most corrupt people, every Muslim land almost. So whatever is happening in the Middle East is not because of the people. It is actually reshaping of the greater Middle East as they reshaped the Muslim world after the First World War. Try to understand what they are trying to do. They are dividing large Muslim countries into smaller states now. The Muslim lands are being divided. This is the Zionist game plan of further dividing the Muslim lands. People have got nothing to do with it. Look at Egypt. Over 1 million people came out on the street against Mubarak. And what did they get? Nothing. A dictatorship, a headless state. You don't even know the name of the ruler of Egypt now. Because it is now ruled by a military law, by a martial law, by a group of people. You don't even know who they are. So this is what is happening in the Muslim lands. They bought half the army of Libya. So there's a civil war going on in Libya. They've destroyed, decimated Iraq. They destroyed Afghanistan. They've planned the same thing for Syria, for Saudi Arabia. And for Pakistan, they did what they're doing in the Middle East now, they did 3 years ago in Pakistan. This present democracy that they brought upon Pakistan after Pervez Musharraf. Pervez Musharraf was their Hosni Mubarak. But once they replaced Hosni Mubarak and they brought in a dictatorship of their choice. In Pakistan, they replaced Musharraf and brought a democracy of their choice. A corrupt, incompetent, which plans, the design, the game plan is to break Pakistan. So, just like they broke Yugoslavia, just like they broke Sudan and Iraq and different countries, different Muslim lands.
So are you trying to say that, like the Balkanization of Yugoslavia is built up into small states, that's what is happening in Pakistan?
This is exactly what they plan to do. Inshallah, they'll never be able to do that. Because the Pakistani armed forces are federal force. They are keeping the country united. The insurgency, the suicide bombing and the terrorist campaign, which is sponsored by CIA and Indian RAW from Afghanistan into Pakistan, and the resistance movement in Balochistan, insurgencies in Balochistan and the rioting in the arson in Karachi, everything is orchestrated from outside. And the Pakistani armed forces are countering it. But the Pakistani judiciary has collapsed, the government has collapsed, the education, the economics has collapsed because that's what the government is running those shows. And the government is already compromised. We do expect a coup in Pakistan, a coup by the armed forces, a coup by certain members of the higher judiciary, and a coup by the patriotic elements in the youth and the media. So we are counter-attacking. There's a very strong lobby in Pakistan now, which has seen through this game of Yugoslavia doctrine that is being applied on Pakistan. They destroyed Yugoslavia through bad management, through economic collapse, through civil war, through mismanagement, and ultimately NATO moved in to decimate Yugoslavia into 5-6 smaller countries. They plan the same for Pakistan. This is exactly what they plan for Libya. Libya is almost into 2 countries now. One Benghazi controlled by the rebels and Tripoli by the Gaddafi forces. So this is what they are planning. Muslim world needs to understand the population, the people, they have no power in their hands. The power is in the hands of the armed forces. And wherever these Western forces and Zionists have been able to control the armed forces, they have divided those lands or installed martial laws.
Brother Zaid, what do you make of Pakistan's relations with its neighboring countries, in particular India?
You see, there is absolutely no possibility of Pakistan's peace with India, because India, ever since Pakistan was created in 1947, India has been single-mindedly focused on dismemberment of Pakistan. In 1971, they attacked East Pakistan. The country Bangladesh that you hear was once East Pakistan. It was part of Pakistan. It was invaded by Indians, and they supported the insurgencies and rebellions within, and over 1 million Pakistanis were slaughtered there, and then Indians invaded, occupied, and Pakistan suffered a major setback there when Bangladesh was created out of the ashes of East Pakistan. And now even, whatever the remaining part of Pakistan that you see, 40 years ago, that was only called the West Pakistan, because the eastern wing was Bangladesh. So even now, the Indians are supporting the insurgency, all the violence, all the collapse, all the provincialism, All the separatist movements in Pakistan are sponsored and supported by the Indians. Indians are blocking Pakistani water to destroy Pakistani agriculture. All the rivers that flow into Pakistan come from Kashmir. And Kashmir is not just a territorial dispute. It's a dispute for the very survival of Pakistan because the water comes from it. And Indians have made dozens of dams and barrages and diverted canals to take away Pakistani water. And there is no doubt on this that while Pakistan could delay the dispute of Kashmir over territory for some time, for 63 years, on water you cannot delay. And in probably the next couple of years, we see a war with India for water, if nothing else.
Right.
And the insurgencies that the Indians are supporting in Pakistan have created havoc in Pakistan. These are all foreign insurgencies.
What do you feel
So
of
there is
that?
absolutely no possibility of any peace with India.
What future do you feel there should be for Kashmir? Do you think it should be completely independent from both Pakistan and India, or do you feel they should be part of Pakistan?
You see, Habibi, Kashmir, it was a case which went to United Nations in 1948. And at that time, it was decided that the will of the people of Kashmir, their human rights, their right of self-determination was acknowledged by the global community. And this must be enforced. Let the Kashmiris speak. Let the Kashmiris decide their fate. And if whatever the Kashmiris say, world community must accept. And I can tell you now, that is the reason India does not want any plebiscite there, any elections, any right of self-determination. Why? Because Kashmiris will speak for Pakistan.
Right. I mean, it's difficult times in Kashmir, especially in parts of Jammu Kashmir and Indian-administered Kashmir, where innocent people seem to be arrested and not charged and keep being imprisoned at the moment. Can't the international community put a bit more pressure on Kashmir?
You see, what to talk of the international community? Where is the international conscience? There, 250,000 Kashmiris have been killed in the last 30 years only. And you don't even hear a whimper in the international media or United Nations or Security Council against India. Because India is a large player, India is a large country, it has a fascinating media, it has economy which is trading with the West and the Western major powers. So, it's in the interest of the trade, in the interest of the global Zionist banking system, it does not suit them to speak against India for the human rights of Muslims. Why should they? Have you ever heard the world community standing up for Palestine? Have you ever heard world community standing up for Chechnya? Or have you ever heard them standing up for Muslims of Moro-Mandela? Or for standing up for Muslims of Iraq or Afghanistan? I mean, Muslims would be living in a world of fallacy.
Do you feel this is a war on Islam?
Sorry?
Do you feel this is a war on Islam?
There is absolutely no doubt about it. A person has to be blind, not to believe this. Even Putin could see that. The Russian President Putin could see that. That whatever his West is doing in Middle East, he called it a medieval crusade, the repeat of the medieval crusade. And Putin is one of them. So the point is that a Muslim would have to be an absolutely insane or an idiot not to believe that whatever we are saying in post 9/11 era is a Western invasion, a civilizational access war against Islam. And to define you this, there are 6 grand strategic objectives that the modern Western civilization has in the Muslim world. Number 1 is the defense of Israel. Defense and security of Israel is the primary objective. And for that, they have to destroy every Muslim land, especially the nuclear weapons, which can pose a threat to Israel. So that's the objective number 1. Objective number 2 is control of global fuel and fossil assets, mineral assets, oil, gold, copper, silver, whatever Muslim world produces. Number 3, it is control of the global waterways, all the global trading routes that pass through Muslim lands, Suez, Gulf of Arabian Gulf, Malacca Straits, Gibraltar Straits, Bosphorus. Every Muslim land is cornering the global waterways. And then, of course, the destruction of political Islam. Not to let any Muslim land establish Sharia. And the 5th is containment of Russia, and 6th is containment of China. So these are the grand strategic objectives, the 6 of them. That is why Pakistan becomes critical here. Disruption of Pakistan, God forbid, becomes critical of the modern Western civilization. Because Pakistan is an ideological Islamic state. We are a nuclear power. We sit in the most strategic location in Asia. Right from one end we are connected to the Persian Gulf and Indian Ocean, and then from the other axis we are connected to the Central Asia. And then Pakistan is a friend with China, and Pakistan is by default the leader of the Muslim world.
Yeah.
Now that makes Pakistan the primary target today.
Brother Zaid, you spoke about many points that I wanted to bring up with you. In regards to the resources, yes, Pakistan has so many resources, but why is it so far behind India and some of the other third world countries?
Habibi, this is what I'm telling you. Nigeria is a Muslim land. They export oil worth $200 billion. But they are the poorest country in Africa. What happens? Because the country is run by shale oil. Similarly, Brunei. The entire Brunei is one of the richest Muslim lands, run by BHP, British Petroleum. So, now the thing is, this what happens. The governments are basically corporate managers. And the entire resource and wealth of the Muslim lands is being extracted and taken out. It's not happening from today. It's happening for the last 300 years. The exploitative colonial classes of the dominant Western civilization, the East India Company. The East India Company which came and which captured the entire India. They were the first multinationals which came as traders and then became the rulers. And the form still continues. It's through they're controlling the food supply, they're controlling the global pharmaceutical supply, they control the global media, and they control the global politics through democracy and diplomacy. That's why you find it.
I mean, you spoke about China, Brother Zaid, you spoke about China as well being an ally, but I've never actually seen China support Pakistan in anything.
You see, no, Chinese have been. China is actually the counterbalance that Pakistan has. You see, if Pakistan, on one hand, is trying to get F-16s from the Americans, simultaneously Pakistan is developing its own Thunder JF-17 aircraft with the Chinese.
Right.
If the Americans are not giving cruise missiles to Pakistan, Pakistan has cruise missiles which they jointly developed with the Chinese. Everything that Pakistan has is in two pairs. Every equipment of defense forces that Pakistani armed forces use are two sets. One set is made in West, other set is made in China. And that is where the backup arrangement is. So China is actually the most reliable ally that Pakistan has in the region.
Right. And Pakistan spends a lot of money on nuclear weapons, probably more than many countries in that region. Surely that money could be better used on tackling poverty.
Habibi, whatever wealth Pakistan has even now is enough to feed not just Pakistan but also the many countries in the region. So, basically, our issue is corruption. Our issue is embezzlement, mismanagement and bad governance. If Pakistan did not have nuclear weapons, Pakistan would not exist today. If India, an expansionist, Zionist, extremist force, has nuclear weapons, what is stopping India from overrunning Pakistan? If it is not the nuclear weapons of Pakistan. When it comes to matter of integrity and survival, what is stopping Israel from overrunning the entire Muslim lands? Jordan, Syria, Egypt, all Muslim lands around Israel are non-nuclear powers. They have no military force compared to what Israel has. Still, Israel is not expanding militarily. Why? Because they are scared. Muslim forces, Pakistani forces, Pakistani Air Force, Pakistani nuclear weapons, Pakistani artillery, always goes to the Middle East to defend the Muslim land, Arab lands. Pakistani nuclear weapons are the counterbalance, are actually the stabilizing factor in Middle East as well as in the South Asia. Do not consider them as just weapons which, with the cost of which could have been spent on the people. You can pay any price for your honor, for your integrity, for your dignity, for your faith, for your freedom, for your ideology. It's a price that we Pakistanis have paid, and we are very proud to pay. More than willing. Absolutely worth it.
Right. I mean, what do you feel people, Pakistani people who live abroad could do? Because it seems to me many people get educated, go outside to America and England, and then live there, so they don't give their talents back to Pakistan, especially the young people.
You see, the point is, Habibi, first I will tell them is never ever to lose faith in Pakistan. This is the only true home you have. In the coming days, you will see this, that West will make it impossible for Muslims to live the life of Muslims. Look at France, what they have done today. They have banned niqab for the Muslims. All other European countries are going to do the same thing. They are going to ban your azan, they are going to ban your dress codes, they are going to ban your niqabs. They are going to force your children to have immoral, obnoxious sex education in their schools. They are going to destroy your family structures. And you will have no honor, you will have no dignity and no faith living in those societies. And that's how the future is going to unfold in the coming weeks and months and years. So have faith. The only place where you can practice your honor and dignity. Economy is not everything. High standard of living is not everything. Honor, dignity, and faith is everything for a Muslim.
Can I just speak
so
to you about...
in the coming days...
Sorry, brother. I just said, can I just speak...
In the coming days, Pakistan would be your base. So never lose hope.
Right. I just want to speak to you about the floods that happened in Pakistan. I understand there are still some areas, in particular in Sindh, that a lot of people still haven't had any support.
You see, it's the government, as we said, the government of People's Party that is imposed upon Pakistan today is the most corrupt in the history of Pakistan. It's not the issue of the money. It's not the issue of resources not available. It's the issue, as we said again, of embezzlement, corruption, mismanagement. But still, the wheat crop that Pakistan had this year after the flood is the bumper crop. Pakistan never had this many wheat in so many years because the rain, because the flood brought in fresh soil. The topsoil was completely freshened up, and all the wheat crops which were planted there now Pakistan. So we are a wheat surplus country now. So there again, despite the damages, the net result was that crops became better. Pakistan is food surplus. And again, as we said, it's only a matter of corruption and mismanagement. Everything can be managed. There are places in not just in interior Sindh, even in rural urban areas. There are people who have got absolutely no resource available to them. Electricity is shutting down for 10 to 12 hours a day. Gas shortages in the major industrial towns. Not because Pakistan does not have gas, not because Pakistan does not have electricity. It's purely, as we said, orchestrated collapse of the administrative systems deliberately to create chaos and anarchy on the Yugoslavia pattern. This is not because the resources are not there. It is because by design Pakistan is being disintegrated. That's what the game plan of this democracy is.
Right.
And unless and until you understand the exact core issue of it, the core problem is it's the Yugoslavia doctrine being imposed. There is no issue in Pakistan. Everything is available. Resources, systems, money, manpower is available. Then why still not delivering? It's the corrupt system, it's the corrupt people, the government which has come in, which has been given a mandate to break Pakistan. And inshallah, they'll never be able to do that. The armed forces, the patriots, the patriotic elements and media establishment, we have seen through this game. And inshallah, we are counter-attacking.
I mean, you've mentioned quite a few issues there. What do you feel is the future for Pakistan? How can we improve Pakistan and make it a better place and a fairer place for everybody to live?
Habibi, rule number first thing first, we need to change this government. Bring in a government of patriotic caretakers, a government of technocrats who are fiercely, ruthlessly patriotic and honest, and who know how to deliver the job. This is the first requirement. Democracy and dictatorship have failed in this country. There is absolutely no possibility of further elections. All the political parties are corrupt. Political leaders are corrupt. Their wealth is outside the country. They've only spent time in embezzlement and fraud. So, to make Pakistan better, first thing is bring in a regime change. Second, revive the ideology. Unite this nation under the doctrine of Iqbal. The doctrine which gives you self-respect, confidence, honor, dignity. That's what this nation needs. And once a nation with dignity and the patriotic leadership is there, the Pakistanis can create wonders. With the entire international embargo on Pakistan, Pakistani scientists were able to collect pieces from all over the world and build a nuclear program, build a nuclear weapons and missile program. It is a technical impossibility that Pakistan is a nuclear weapon state today. How could that be possible? How could Pakistanis do it? The world still cannot understand how could Pakistan make a nuclear weapon. If Pakistanis can do that, why can't they build their agriculture, railways, industrial infrastructure, and the canal systems, and the electricity and the gas systems? Everything is in place. All they need is a sincere, patriotic leadership.
Right. Brother Zaid Hamid, Jazakallah khair for joining us today. Good luck with your... Good luck with your plans to making Pakistan a better place, inshallah.
Inshallah, we live for it. You will see that. Either we'll achieve what we live for, or inshallah, we'll die in the process. But either way, we live with dignity, inshallah, and die with honor.
Okay, my brother. Assalamu alaikum.